Yeah, so John, what is prompt engineering and what can an attorney get out of mastering it?
Prompt engineering is getting better at using prompts for AI in a way that's more systematic. And one of the really big things you get out is of AI in general is a higher IQ in a way, or an assisted IQ. I think Peter Diamandis mentions, for example, like 40-point increase or whatever it is, you know, um, and that's going to accelerate as we reach artificial general intelligence or the, you know, whatever you want to call super intelligence type of thing. When you're using AI, human plus AI assistance, you are more capable than just a person doing the same task in most cases. Um, you also get structure and speed. So for creating content, and we're talking mostly about AI SEO for law firms kind of stuff. So, you want to speed up your ability to make content and quality thought leadership based content and to satisfy Google EEAT. And so making a EEAT ready outline for a blog post where you're showing Google that you're an expert, or first your experience, like your case studies or who you work with, that you're an expert, that you're an authority, and that you're trustworthy. And Google actually says that trustworthiness, like your Google reviews and various trust factors, credibility factors, did you win super lawyers type of thing, that's the most important to Google out of those four things. I would say the second most important is probably the experience, which they added right after ChatGPT came out, because it used to be experience, authority, and trustworthiness or authoritativeness. And they added that extra E because people can kind of game the system with AI content, but it's harder to game if you have to prove that you actually have experience. So anyway, I think AI can increase your IQ, your speed, and help you generate these kind of structured content workflows.
So, how do we use a prompt to generate content that, to your point, actually guarantees high EEAT signals instead of just getting a generic outline?
The key is to stop asking AI just write a blog post and start using prompt engineering frameworks like the Crispy model. Sounds like a cereal, but Crispy AIOs or something like that. It's an acronym, but it's powerful because it forces us to be specific. Crispy means we give the AI, number one, context. What's the background? The role, who are you? A lawyer, an SEO expert. The input, what data are you working with? The steps, what are the actions? Persona, who are you talking to? Examples or exceptions. What does the final output look like? And let me give you an example. We used the Crispy framework to generate the entire strategic content plan for a book titled Your Family's Guide to Medical Malpractice Lawsuits. Instead of generic filler, the AI acted as a seasoned SEO expert and gave us both the book structure and the exact podcast interview blueprint. And I'll read the chapter titles. And notice how each chapter is a high value topic designed to capture search traffic. So, chapter one, the critical first steps, recognizing medical negligence, statute of limitations, protecting your rights to file a claim. Chapter three, proving damages, valuing your medical malpractice case. Chapter four, the litigation process from discovery to trial. Chapter five, finding the right attorney, credentials, and case experience. Chapter six, final resolution, settlements, verdicts, and appeals. AI gave us a podcast plan, and this is what we'd record for chapter two for the book. The podcast title is "Does a Clock Start Now? Navigating Statute of Limitations in Medical Law." And here are the 5 conversational questions it gave us, designed to elicit comprehensive EEAT-rich answers for the book draft. what is a statute of limitations, and you could make that a little longer, but just for brevity here, in terms of the question. What are the typical risks involved if a family waits too long to contact an attorney? Can the statute be stopped or tolled for certain individuals, such as minors or those under disability? This integrated output proves that when you use a strategic framework like Crispy, you get an authoritative multi-channel content engine, not just a generic article. I won't read the whole prompt, but you can get a downloadable list of the AI SEO prompts for your law firm on the blog post when this goes live with the transcript. And the prompt is pretty staggering that, I generated. I was almost tempted to read the prompt in the podcast, but I think it's over the top. But yeah, I mean, it is just for kicks. But well, for the listeners, you won't get this, but for anybody watching the video, I mean, it's a full page, and yeah, but interestingly, I mean, I think a lot of people are not aware of the level of depth you can use for prompting, so they're just whipping off these little statements. I may be sort of extreme. Often when I use Gemini app on my phone a lot, and I use the pro version of that and the pro version of ChatGPT. I use Claude and Perplexity and Grok, a lot of things, but those two main ones, like all the time. And on my phone, I'm constantly talking to Gemini. You and I have joked. You're like, John, really again? Like, we're having a conversation. I have to stop to like use AI. It's almost absurd at this point. But I'm like, I need my IQ boost. It's like I need my coffee. But some of my prompts are almost absurd. Like when I'm just home alone in the morning and, before my family wakes up, and I'm just talking to Gemini, maybe for business advice, McKinsey level business strategy advice, whatever. My prompts sometimes are like way over the top. Like it might take me 5 minutes to just talking to. I'm giving it so much context, and I get these wild, deep research things. I mean, sometimes I'll just turn it on to like, thinking mode, so it just comes back quickly. But deep research, like in Gemini, is incredible. Like I do them every day, and I have these like, Google Docs where like the output is like this massive amount of research where it's, and that's the big shift really with old SEO and using Google is like you search and 10 blue links come up and you click them and you have to go do all this work. But robots are now doing that work for us. And I'm kind of using it as a crutch, and I'm running an SEO agency for 30 years now, but I don't think it's bad news for us because, if we were selling only the old SEO, it would be bad news, but we're helping people get at the top of AI. But the point is that prompts can be very long. You can make them very off the cuff, and they're probably going to be reasonably effective. But like the Crispy framework will work in better, I think, and frameworks like it, and that'll work whether it's ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Grok, Perplexity, Claude. Claude is a really good one for writing. Sounds a little more human in some ways. Anyway, so those are some tips for that.
I think one of the things that people and maybe lawyers, in general, forget, too, with this is that you get out of something what you put into it. That's kind of a common phrase that you think of, but it's really true with AI as well, that the I in Crispy, that input is so important. And for example, like we recently had some changes in the industry that we needed to do for a client, and kind of revise their homepage, text a little bit. And when I just sort of generically said like, hey, give me some advice to, for how to revise the homepage because of this and this, it gave me some generic text back. But when I inputted the transcript from a conversation that we had with the client and inputted that to get the client's exact thoughts, into the AI model, then what it spit back was much, much better and was much closer and more aligned with what the client was thinking and what their thoughts and their knowledge were. So yeah, I think that a lot of people don't realize that you can actually like upload Word documents and things like that into AI. Yeah, it was a good hour-long call or something like that, and we put the whole transcript into the AI and said, now use this, to help us to reframe the homepage text, and it was like, oh, okay, well, based on that, I would change this, this, and this, and it was much, much better. The output was much better in that case.
And we're able to show that to the client very quickly, and then say, if you like the structure, let's give much more human input now, and we want to be careful.
Now let's have our writer, actually write it and make it sound good. Yeah.
Right. And I think it sounded pretty good what you came up with pretty quickly, and it was so intelligent how it was able to, in a very abbreviated way, get the key points across. But yeah, then give it that, if it's on the right track, then give it the human touch and you're golden.
So obviously, given that, we can't just, like you said, give it a short little prompt and get back output and then just go and hit publish and just publish this generic AI content. What are some of the key human guardrails that lawyers must have to maintain factual accuracy and avoid penalties?
Well, obviously human guardrails, right? Because, there are hallucinations, and again, you and I joke all the time, like how, like, I'm sometimes over the top, like using AI for everything, for the research. Again, I don't push the easy button and make stupid AI slop. It's like the opposite of what we do. We do podcasts and videos and like thought leader content, and we use AI for the assisting of it. But having done so much of it, and being so excited by the IQ boost, I've also started to get pissed off lately too, because, I made a research list of websites the other day, and I was so excited that it gave me this amazing list of certain types of sites. And then I go to click them, and half of them are freaking 404 errors. They're not even live. So, you got to be very careful what you're publishing. Obviously, for a lawyer, it's a whole nother level, or another guardrail would be like, a HIPAA compliance or all kinds of things. And, lawyers, you guys know this, but you got to be careful throwing into AI like private information. You can, to a degree, mitigate some of that with, like in ChatGPT, you go to the settings and you turn off, allow us to use your conversations in AI to train our model. I think that's a nice little guardrail for starters, to not like feed AI everything you're saying to it. But the main thing is, think of the AI output as a draft and a very helpful way to get things sped up, but by no means just trust everything it says. You can get into quick trouble. And lawyers, there are some famous lawyer examples of totally made up case studies, right? Certain things at trial, I forget some of the examples, but pretty outrageous. You can get disbarred if you don't fact check.